I got a friend named De Niro who like owns a smoothie shop in New Orleans where I'm from, and he always tells me like, you need to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready, right? So I had been working out with him for like a little while already. I still kind of had like a little pudge, but my arms were getting super ripped, right? And then I get called to do this thing with Sean, and they're like, "You're like the perfect prisoner."
Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass. Today I'm joined by Jason Mitchell, who plays Sean Samuels in Call Her King, which is premiering on BET Plus on July 6, 2023. I'm going to talk to him right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. I'll spend a lot. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got Jason Mitchell, who plays Sean Samuels in Call Her King, which is coming to BET Plus on July 6, 2023. It is a courtroom action drama, but not the kind of courtroom action you're thinking of. This is like action in a courtroom. It is well done action. It is a little bit out there, but it is also a lot of fun. And I'm so excited to talk to you. Thanks so much for joining me.
Man, thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. And I'm equally as excited about this film, man. I normally die and cry in all of my films. So this is like a good release for me, man. This is a fun film.
Spoilers. You just we find out you make it out. So
Well, do we know?
yeah. So I know that this role is a little different from other roles that you have. How did you get involved in this movie? How did you kind of like hook up with Wes and get on this project?
Well, actually, Andrew, who's the Andrew Vanderhoden, who's the producer of this film, he reached out to my manager Corey, and one thing just sort of led to another. I think Wes was always trying to get me to be able to work with him, but it's been crazy, man. I've been busy for a while, but he finally snuck this in there. When he gave me the script, I was like, oh my goodness. I was completely blown away. Like it's so many twists and turns, and just knowing that Naturi was part of it and Lance was part of it. Like I was game from the jump.
That is awesome. Yeah, no, I agree. Like I expected it to be maybe a little bit more predictable, but there were some really interesting twists and some things like when they happened and they went back and you like saw the basis that was in the earlier part of the movie. I was like, oh, like that is kind of an interesting connection there. So it must have been fun to read for the first time and then kind of fun to make into reality.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just actually having those real moments in these real courthouses with these real people, like it was really dope. Like this was the first time I ever looked at my schedule and was like, hold on, we working on the weekends? And it was like, yeah, we got to work nights and weekends because we're using the real courthouse. And it was just really dope to put together.
For sure. And probably also the first time you looked at your schedule, being like, dang, I gotta go to court. You're like, I'm excited for that. Like that'll be fun.
Exactly. Definitely the first time excited about going to court for sure.
Usually you're like, oh, I gotta go to jury duty. I gotta sit there the entire day, and either they're not gonna call me or they're gonna call me and then they're gonna make me sit there for months. But now you're like, yes, let's get going. Go to the metal detector with my fake guns. It'll be perfect.
Exactly, man. It was a stretch, for our because New Jersey, man, they're just so crazy about their gun laws and all
Mhm.
types of stuff. So even our art department, they had like so much trouble getting all of that stuff done. But we ultimately came together and made a really, really dope film.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm like, I was kind of curious. I mean, this is a good place to kind of segue to that. Like there is a lot of action, there is a lot of kind of destruction. That courtroom, at least the set or what looked like the courtroom, got pretty beaten up. Like how did they do that? Like, was it movie magic, or did they just like have some old stuff that you're like, hey, we'll just rebuy those chairs and those benches. Let's just destroy them now. Like, how did that happen?
Pretty much, you know what I mean? Like I said, our art department, they were pretty dope. They came in and swapped some things out. But Wes and Andrew, they have their way of talking their way into things, man. Like nobody I've ever met. And they were just like promising by the time people had to come back into this courtroom that it would be fixed and that it would be back in shape. But like, yeah, we blew some stuff up. We shot a lot of stuff up. It was pretty crazy. I'm so glad that wasn't my job.
Yeah, exactly. It's a fun experience to be able to do that in a courtroom when you know that you're not going to get in trouble, right? Like that's
Exactly.
fun.
Exactly.
Um, were you always set to play Sean in this film, or did you try out for a couple of the other roles, or did you always kind of want to be, I guess, the central figure, the main person in this film, or the main, I guess, male character in this film?
Well, when I read the script, right, of course, the Gabriel role, the older brother, was absolutely intriguing. But I was kind of always up for Sean, and when I saw because I always look for layers
Mhm.
in my characters, and I thought that it was pretty dope that you didn't know what to feel about him.
Mhm.
And that was my first time being able to really express that in a character. You know what I mean? So it was kind of cool. But I asked about the Gabriel world, but they were like, no, we got that already. Okay, we're going tall, dark, and handsome with that one. So like yeah, so I think I was always up for Sean. But yeah, a lot of these characters in this film are super, super interesting. And I'd have been blessed to have the smallest role, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. And I like how you describe Sean. Like you don't like he is kind of a I don't know, like an enigma, right? You don't know what he did, you don't know what he knows. He is sympathetic, but then he's also on trial. Like there's a lot of nuance to what you have to do. So I applaud you for taking on that role and try and like making it your own and portraying all of that on screen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So did you have to do anything to prepare for the role of Sean? Like, did you watch courtroom dramas? Did you watch any sort of legal proceedings to kind of get into that mindset? Or you were definitely ripped, so I wonder if you just pumped iron like you were in prison. I don't know.
Right. You know what's interesting is that I got a friend named De Niro who like owns a smoothie shop in New Orleans where I'm from. And he always tells me like you need to stay ready so you ain't got to get ready. Right. So I had been working out with him for like a little while already. I still kind of had like a little pudge, but my arms were getting super ripped. Right. And then I get called to do this thing with Sean, and they're like, you're like the perfect prisoner. Right.
I
So
guess that's a compliment, right?
right, exactly. So we got this whole thing going on, this dreadlock thing going on, and like, you're perfect for this role. But I think ultimately, the preparation was minimal, right?
Mhm.
Because like Naturi is an awesome actor,
Mhm.
and we're in this real courtroom, like it's real time happening for me. So all I did was kind of let the elements take over, if you will,
Mhm.
because when somebody looks you straight in your eyes and say, "Hey, I sentenced you to death," for something that you may or may not have done. I mean, you only get one life, you know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like, the emotion and all of that came from a real place. And I kind of got to give credit to, our director, Wes Miller. And I got to give a lot of credit to Naturi because I mean, she killed it. I had Nick right there next to me, who's an awesome actor, one of the most dope I ever worked with in my life.
Yeah.
So it just felt very real, at the time. It was crazy.
No, that's a really great point. Like you just kind of like let the moment touch you, and that's exactly what you should be doing in that instance because it's like your character is just going to be overcome with whatever is happening around you, and because you're in a natural setting, it just like happens naturally. I love that.
Exactly, exactly. Because I think a lot of times people think, in order to be like this special actor and give this special performance, you have to take yourself out of it. But I think exactly the opposite. I think if you put yourself into it more and let the elements take over and let the moments take over, like when we did Kong Skull Island,
Mhm.
right? Me as this black man from Hollygrove, what am I doing in waist deep high water in Vietnam? I'm already scared. You know what I mean? Even how is it here? Like this is uncharted land for the kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot of times you just gotta kind of let the elements take over and let the what ifs be possible for you, you know?
No, that's perfect. And the other question I have is like, have you recorded and or published this workout routine where you got your arms to be gigantic? Because I could use some help in that department. So just send me the tips.
I have not. And a lot of people tell me, like, you should put yourself on the internet working out. But I played sports in school. I did like a lot of crash dieting.
Mhm.
And it's never pretty. Like I've thrown up countless times in the gym, like, and then you have the one instructor who's like, come on, come on. You're like, put the phone down, sir.
Yeah.
Don't get me, don't do this to me. So there's that. But I mean it's close to like it's close to 400 push-ups a day. You gotta knock them out in quick 50s. That's how you do
I
it.
mean, that's all natural. That's good advice. And I guess to the Cassian's point, like that is essentially the prison workout, right? You were kind of like
Pretty much.
set for that.
Pretty much. That's why everybody leaves with like a little pudge and like super huge arms and a huge chest.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, look, it
No
works,
leg
right? You
press
can't beat the
workouts at
results.
all.
And the dreads, like, so you just were naturally growing. Was this like during COVID? Was this when you like were when we didn't have to shave as much, or were you just kind of like, do you always have dreads? I don't know. I guess I don't know what your
Well, to
normal
be
look was like.
honest, like I have a hard time cheating on my barber, you
Mhm.
know. So there was just one point where I was like, I went to Poland for about 4 months, and I did a period piece, and I already had to like grow my hair out, so I was growing my hair out before I went there. And then I went to Poland and obviously couldn't find like a black barber, right? So my hair just kept growing and
Exactly.
it kept growing. So we got to this point where I had these dreads and I was like, we kind of extended them a little bit, but like my hair was really long already. So I was like, let's just try something new. And then when Wes saw it, he was like, oh, I love it. I love it. Let's go with this. So yeah, that's how
That
the thing came about.
that is awesome and yeah, very fortuitous. And yeah, like if you spent the time already, you might as well just play with it for a little bit, right? Like
Exactly.
that's why this is still here, even though my wife hates it. It's
Hey man,
there.
hats off to you though, because this is my life saving.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't cut this. It just doesn't. It refuses to grow.
I would trade this for this and this. So I think it's a fair trade.
Hey
So
man, all guys with mustaches are what's popping right now.
we'll see. We'll see if that's true. I'll take your word for it.
I love
You're way more hip than I am. So
it.
um when did this film? Was this film during the pandemic? Was it kind of like just after? I couldn't tell when in the world's timeline this movie was made.
Well, we shot it last year in between September, no, like kind of October, November
Okay.
kind of time. You know what I mean? So the pandemic, I mean, it wasn't a complete swipe under the rug. Like, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of COVID testing. There was, a lot of that went into it, but it didn't feel like it was on lockdown anymore.
Mhm.
And it's kind of crazy because on the East Coast, just in general, you can feel that pressure. You know what I mean? You can feel like how everything's shutting down. You can feel that everybody's like, no, we don't want you in our restaurant. Kind of just take your stuff and go.
Yeah.
But it was a good experience, man. It was a good experience, even though it still felt very sickly at times.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's always that kind of like concern. Even now, like everything is for all intents and purposes over. I mean, it's still around, but like even if I get into like a big convention or a big conference hall or just in a big crowd, like you still feel a little weird about it. I don't know if it's ever going to leave. I guess at some point we'll just all get past it, but it is still kind of a concern years later.
Absolutely. And I've had my personal tragedies with COVID.
Mhm.
A couple of my close friends lost, near and dear people to them. And,
Oh wow.
sometimes their kids got COVID, and just watching this panic is like crazy. And I'm not like a conspiracy theorist, but I also, thought it was kind of crazy that like, you see these hospitals getting top dollar for these people who are passing, and you don't really see many different I guess you don't see a lot of difference between that and pneumonia or the common cold or whatever it may be. So in the back of your mind, you're always kind of like scared to death. Like, is this gonna be floating around us forever now? Is this like a thing now? Has COVID-19 came and taken over? It feels like you're living in a movie,
Yeah,
It's
no, exactly. It
kind
does.
of
It feels
scary.
like the plot, and maybe it's just because we haven't lived through kind of the initial stages of all that. I bet when the first kind of flus or the first like pneumonias came out, like people, it was this panic, and then you just kind of got used to it, and now this is our next whatever, and hopefully after some time, it'll just be a normal thing. Like, oh, you got COVID, that sucks. Like,
Right.
isolate.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
we'll
Exactly.
see. We'll see. I mean, life goes on. It keeps moving. The world keeps moving for better or worse. So.
Right. Right.
And so I know that you all destroyed this place and rebuilt it. I know indie films never have enough time, as much time as they want. How much time did you actually get to spend on set? How much time did you have for filming?
Oh wow. We knocked this film out in about 23 or 24 days.
Oh wow, that's a good amount of time for an indie film. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a pretty decent amount of time. And to say the amount of action that went into it, again, I just kind of got to tip my hat to Wes Miller because he's somebody he's the first director who I've seen want to write. who wants to be behind the camera and still is like phenomenal when it comes to working with actors. Like the patience he has is crazy. You know, he has a son that pulls focus. He also has his youngest daughter Lauren, who is there all the time. Like, and he just balances this stuff so well. You know what I mean? So I really got to give, hats off to him. But like we had a lot of action to cover in a very short period of time. And he's one of those people, I think he could just see the movie in his head already. You know what I mean? He just had to make sure we had enough rounds to be able to shoot to make it go to make it happen.
No, it's perfect. Yeah, he's got the plan, and now he just has to execute that plan. And I love that it's a family affair. It sounds like it sounds like it was a fun family affair on set. I was curious, like, what was it like on set? It sounds like I've heard nothing but positive from you, so it sounds like it was a fun overall experience. What was it like on set? Was it exciting, stressful, both?
Well, when we did this film, we were kind of still like fresh off this whole Alec Baldwin situation. So,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
the armor Eric that we had, him and his wife actually came in and really, really killed it, made everybody feel safe. And it just felt like a family affair. It felt like our rap party should have been a barbecue. You know what I mean? Like
That's awesome.
everybody knew each other's names. On my days off, instead of like staying at the hotel, I would come in and like be a PA and be on the AD team and just like help out. And that's the kind of vibe that it was. Even our cook, her name is Stephanie, but we call her Stephanie. She
I
was
love it.
just like it was just a really, really dope experience. You know what I mean? And I think under it all, that's kind of like what Philly and New Jersey have already and that they bring. So when we brought the core team out there, even the mayor like popped up on us, and it just felt very family oriented. You know what I mean? We were doing a lot of snacking. We had no idea Naturi was pregnant at the time either, so
Oh
that was
wow.
that was kind of crazy. But her husband was there all the time as well. And we had no idea it was because that she was pregnant that she was doing all the snacking, and kind of had her husband waiting on her hand and foot, and he's a super cool guy. So it just felt very family oriented, and like in film, a lot of times you do get the privilege to bond with people that outside of this you would have never met with, and that's kind
Mhm.
of like this unspoken um creed that sort of happens in the film world. But like very rarely do you then take that and move to this other space that you guys are like hitting each other up, and like there are real I love yous, and people are genuinely checking on your kids and genuinely checking on your families. And like I just bought a Dalmatian not too long ago, and I was telling them before, like, I think I'm gonna get a dog. You know what I mean? So it was like,
Yeah,
I got my dog, everybody got a dog. You know what I mean?
that's
It's been an experience for all of us, man. It's a really close-knit family.
no, that's awesome. And indie films tend to be a labor of love, and then I love that like this also turned into something that it was a labor of love and also kind of like genuine love between everyone involved. It sounds like it really was just kind of a special project.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, we're always trying to find new projects to do ourselves. I just sent Wes something that me and my writing partner wrote, and if he likes it, we'd love for him to direct it. You know what I
Fingers
mean?
crossed.
So
That's awesome.
we're making it happen on this end, bro, for sure.
I love that the film was also call her king, and like Naturi had like her husband there waiting on her. You're like, what? Like, dang, she is just like she's it. Like she is
Yeah,
the king of
right.
this set.
Right. And although she did have a stunt double, like to see her handle a machine gun the way she did was crazy.
Yeah,
Like she never mentioned to anybody that she was pregnant at all. She just went full force. I mean, you've seen the trailer, like she's kicking ass and taking names,
yeah, for
I
sure.
was
No, she is she is
work next
she's
to
she's like a judge and then also like Judge Dredd in the movie, so it's perfect.
exactly, exactly, exactly. So it's just a beautiful thing to watch, man. I think it's gonna be something that people enjoy, like one of those movies, like you haven't seen it, okay, I'll watch it with you again, type of thing, So yeah,
Yes, definitely. It's definitely gonna spark some conversations and be different from anything else that you could really see. It was definitely like a fun environment. It's like if you kind of go in just wanting like a fun action ride, then you'll get it from this movie.
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
So I know we have limited time. I'm gonna switch. I call it the lightning round. They're just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the movie. You can feel free to pass on any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Okay.
All right. First question. So the main actor, her nickname by her parents was King for obvious reasons. Did your parents have some nickname for you growing up? Did they call you anything growing up?
Olio. Don't
Oh,
ask me where they got that from, but that's what they call me. Jaylee Abo, Olio.
that's great. I mean, it rolls off the tongue. I love it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
musical. um, did your parents teach you to defend yourself like the main character in this film?
Absolutely. My mom and my dad, they split pretty early, but my dad was um like a Green Beret in the military, right? So
Damn.
he taught me and my sister, like our summers were like three ninjas. You know what I mean? We came from learning all different types of shit. It was crazy. But yeah, they definitely taught us self-defense.
Just preparing for you for your future in acting and future action roles. I love it.
Exactly.
Have you ever had a hostile court experience? Maybe not as hostile as in this movie, but like some sort of negative court experience. You don't have to go into it if you have. I'm just
You know,
curious.
I wish my mom was here to tell this story with me, but I went to court when I was maybe, I don't know, around 20 years old. And my my um my lawyer is escorting us, to the place that we're supposed to sit. So he let my brother go first, and then he just kind of windmills my mom on the ass. Bow, slaps her on
Whoa,
like
whoa.
everybody was so blown away, like we didn't even know what to do. We just sat down, like this was the weirdest thing ever. Like it was so uncomfortable that all we really could do was laugh. Like now that we look back on it, we laugh. It wasn't so funny at the time, but
Yeah, no, that
it's
is
kind of hilarious.
yeah,
Like
that is
started
wrong.
from here and
Yeah,
took it
that's
all the way
crazy.
around and then pie out. I was like, wow. It was pretty crazy.
I mean, I hope it was just like an accident, but yeah, like it's that's tough to figure out what to like how to react in that situation. That is just
Right. Because it's like if you go off, you like probably gonna end up going to jail or be kept in contempt or something. But
yeah,
yeah, it was in Brownwood, Texas. I'll never forget. First lawyer I ever seen wear cowboy boots.
that is not a good experience at all. Wow, that's oh, I'm glad that you all kept your cool and that you're able to
Yeah,
laugh about it now because that sounds like a frustrating experience. Frustrating at best, like horrible
yeah,
at worst.
yeah. It was pretty crazy.
So, have you ever wanted to be like a judge or a lawyer?
Never, never, ever, man. I feel like
Smart person.
yeah, as a judge, it's way too much. It's way too much pressure, and also kind of a lot of pressure as a lawyer too. You know what I mean? Because like the people who can pay the most normally are the crooks. You know what I'm saying? So it's like
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
if
That
you're
makes
really focused on making some money, your moral compass got to be a little bit shabby. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, that's the wrong racket for me.
yeah. No, that makes sense. And then if you're trying to like help people, then those are also you're generally the lawyer that has like the least resources and the least amount of time. So you're always kind of never giving your clients kind of what they deserve because you just don't have the ability to. So,
Exactly.
yep. Have you ever had to go to extreme lengths to help a family member?
Um, Man, more than a few times. I mean, when it comes to family, like I always put my feelings aside, and rather they right or wrong, I'm riding with them. You know what
Yep.
I mean? It's bit me in the ass a couple times, but for the most part, that's how I was raised, man. We gotta stick together.
Yeah, and like family is one of those things that like it's true. Like blood is thicker than water. Like if
Exactly.
you need anything, it's more likely that your family's going to step in, right? Like that's kind of an ingrained kind of thing. So,
Absolutely.
have you ever served on a jury?
I have not. Thank God. Oh my goodness. My mom has, and it lasted so long. It lasted so long. Like, no. I'm so glad that didn't happen to
That's
me.
yeah. It could be super easy, or it could just be like you have to sit here for 2 months and listen to all this stuff, and good luck, right? Yeah, like
The
it's
trick is to go in with like a Fred Hampton kind of mind frame. The white man, you know what I mean? Just go off as soon as you get there. They're like, nope, check him out.
yeah, but then you never know, right? Like you said, if you make a scene, maybe like the judge will like slap you on the wrist or I don't know, maybe throw you into jail for the afternoon. Who knows, right? Like you gotta be
Exactly.
careful. So
Exactly. You definitely got to tread lightly.
yeah. And the last question is: have you or someone else ever called you king?
All the time, my God.
I love it. I love that
All
swagger.
the time. No, man. Sometimes you got to look at yourself and remind yourself, like, you're the man, you know? And you got to have people around you who view you at an even higher level than you view yourself. Otherwise, sometimes it's easy to slip, you know? So, yeah, we don't throw that king word around too crazy, but we definitely use it. It's definitely in
Definitely use it. Definitely earn it. That's
yeah.
good. That's good advice.
And it's funny because I have a friend named Mercedes Lindsay who was she was a producer on Straight Outta Compton. So
Mhm.
me and her have been knowing each other for years, and every now and then we FaceTime each other and like wear crowns just to make each other feel better.
There you go. That's all.
That's the kind of friends I got. So shout out to Mercedes Lindsay for sure.
I love that. I love, yeah, like, it's like it's a normal thing. I love it. So it's you next the next movie will be Call Him King. It'll be you as a sequel. I mean, with the movie, it could work with you as a sequel and call him King. I love it.
Absolutely.
Write that up, send it to Wes, get it made.
Exactly.
Awesome. So the film is out on July 6th on BET Plus. You are out promoting and getting the word out. I imagine you have other projects in lined up, other projects you're working on. After people see you and Call Her King, what can they look for next from you?
Oh wow. Well, I did produce a movie myself, me and Jaquavis Coleman and our friend Ekpe Udo, who I would also like to give a shout out to because he is now the assistant coach of the Atlanta Hawks, which is super fucking dope.
Oh, that's awesome.
But yeah, us three got together, produced a film called Everything Is Both. It's on Apple TV and Prime right now. After that, I have Scarborn dropping, and then me and Wes just finished another film too. We just wrapped like a week ago.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that should be really, really cool as well. It's called Black Heat. It's starring myself, NLE Chopper, and Dream Doll,
All
which
right.
is
That's
amazing.
I don't know what it's about, but it sounds exciting, either
Yeah, I don't want to
action
say too
oriented
much
or
because I don't know.
potentially
I don't know
raunchy.
how
I don't
much
know,
I
right?
on the hook, but yeah, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna
That's
be
awesome. All right. Well, you can wait patiently for those, but before that, you can check out Jason in Call Her King, which is coming to BET Plus on July 6th, 2023. Thank you so much for talking to me.
man. Thank you for having me, brother. I appreciate you.
That was Jason Mitchell, who plays Sean Samuels in Call Her King, which is coming to BET Plus on July 6th, 2023. It is a legal action film, which isn't like the kind of courtroom action you expect. It is actually like action in the courtroom that has a good cast, some good effects, and some nice plot twists throughout the way. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.